I have some residual thoughts on SpongeBob SquarePants: The Cosmic Shake, which you will now be hearing set to some gameplay of my favorite level. So, SpongeBob SquarePants: The Cosmic Shake is the latest in a surprisingly storied history of SpongeBob 3D platformers. It's developed by Purple Lantern, the same folks behind the Battle for Bikini Bottom remake, and honestly, Cosmic Shake proves they can shake it with the best of them, pun intended. This is the wildest SpongeBob platformer yet, and the love for the series is just kinda oozing everywhere. It's got highly detailed and incredibly colorful worlds, hyper-expressive, bouncy, fluid animation, over-the-top musical compositions which stretch far beyond the reasonable standards of licensed game soundtracks. I seriously don't think you could convince people these tracks are from a SpongeBob game. And that over-the-top nature extends to everything. Cosmic Shake is borderline obsessed with being entertaining at all times, at any costs. My roommate Nathan appropriately and humorously compared it to a delicious milkshake. It's so good, but so very thick and sugary. You keep sipping more because it's absolutely delicious, but you start to feel ill after a little bit from how overwhelmingly dense it is. I had to take several breaks from the game, not because it isn't fantastic, but just to catch a breather. Cosmic Shake is all go all of the time, and that's impressive considering most levels are around an hour long on the first pass. New ideas, mechanics, and challenges are thrown at you faster than you can blink, wringing as much possible from each of the game's varied locations and ensuring no time feels wasted. It is very entertaining and heartwarming to see so many new, thoughtful takes on classic SpongeBob characters. And to top it all off, it's also written really well. For the first time in what feels like forever, SpongeBob and Patrick are likable again. They have a buddy comedy synergy to them. They're almost always talking, and it's almost always about something clever. It's observational humor with a dash of absurdism and occasional surrealism. And I love that. The gameplay isn't to be sneezed at either. It features the creativity and variety of Creature from the Krusty Krab, but with more substantive gameplay. You get a stealth action boss, snail races, and the platforming mechanics are utilized in some pretty clever and challenging ways, especially during optional missions. There are even a ton of minigames which, while not terribly deep, do go a long way to flesh out the world and make the experience feel more like a rounded adventure. You can also enact a number of skips in the platforming if you're familiar with 3D platformers, but it doesn't negate the enjoyment because optimizing the movement and combat is so stimulating, thanks in no small part to the addition of a dodge move and homing kick. The enemies mesh well with the platforming design, often becoming minor hazards of their own while you hop around the colorful landscape. It's just all surprisingly ideal. Don't get me wrong, there are some issues here and there. A dud level, some jokes that don't quite land, a couple of underwhelming gameplay segments. I also don't know why they removed the combo mechanic from Battle for Bikini Bottom when it would have fit well here. That said, I'm still impressed, especially someone who's loved every prior 3D SpongeBob platformer, Hero Pants notwithstanding. Cosmic Shake just does almost everything right, and when taken in whole, it may be peak interactive sponginess.